Oh, okay, so wet conditions plagued
Jesus.
round 4 of the Transnation Formula 1 World Championship here in France. I'm Brett Keenan, joined by Omar, Roman and Cameron Betts, and we had a wet qualifying to start things off as far as things go. And now we're about to see what happens in these wet conditions pertaining whether it's full wet or intermediate conditions. We don't actually have a clue. Nobody has filled us in on any information regarding this. So we're running blind a little bit until the drivers get underway. Nobody's actually readied up yet, so it's... Well, now they're starting to. But, yeah, it looks like a lot of settings are being played around with from the sounds of it, because it must be considered a wet race. And there'll be one person who will excel in these conditions, and that's John Lindbergh. So keep an eye out for him in position 6.
I mean, a lot of the people who went out first probably put on dry seps, and a lot of people who went out a bit further, they might have put on wet seps, they might have seen rain, so it might work out for the people at the back.
Well, we saw this happen as they start off on their formation lap now. We saw this in China with Daniel Vale. He went out and did a blistering lap in the conditions before in the dry, and then of course it did rain in the wet, and he was not able to convert it at all. So I wonder if he's learned from that mistake and he's going to carry through. So as I say, look out for John Lindbergh in position 7. He's the guy that everyone is expecting to move up the field now that we know that it is wet conditions. A few yellow flags happening around at the back. In fact, one of them, Melvin Stolbaka's had an interesting moment. I don't know whether he's had a spin or he's done something, but he's been disqualified from the session regardless due to being too slow. So he's made a mistake and it's cost him a little bit. So Cameron and Omar, we'll start with you, Cameron, on this one. Who do you think has exceeded expectations in qualifying today, and who do you think would be very disappointed with what they've done?
Well, obviously Adrian's exceeded expectations. I mean, last race he wasn't quick as us. It was his debut, and he's only just been getting used to using the assists. I'd say probably who's more disappointed with their position, I'd probably say John. He's usually quite high up, but the rain must have ruined him.
Right, and Omar, your thoughts?
The one that surprised me most was Vandenberg.
Yeah, actually Vandenberg did do very well for his third outing in the, fourth outing in the... No, he actually did miss Australia, didn't he? So, yeah, it was his third outing. So he definitely has exceeded, but who do you think's underachieved and will be looking back on this qualifying thinking, where did I go wrong?
I'd say Guy. I'm expecting him to qualify at least in the top 5, but I guess because weather that didn't happen.
Yeah, I think Guy's got pretty avid wet weather capabilities. I think he did pretty well in the last wet race we had, which I think was Belgium, oddly enough, but we'll see how that plays out as the car's now lining up on the grid ready to get underway. I might watch a perspective from Brad's perspective, because Daniels shows the back of the field rather than the front, so we're just waiting for all the cars to line up, and they're just about to do so now. Now, we'll probably expect to see a glitch here with the lights, so we'll just see if the 5 lights build up. Nope, they're going through normally. And now they're going to build up the revs, so we'll just wait and see. It's lights out and away we go, and I think Daniel had a bit of a bobble trying to get off the line. Bradley, he's actually gone full on sideways into the side of Bradley Betts' car. He's going to try and force the issue up the inside, down the inside of Bradley Betts. Brad tries to cover around the outside, but it's Daniel Vale that will take the advantage. Mackenzie Stewart has gotten around Shaw's Vandenberg in the process. Guy Tasker is up to P5, and there's cars scattering all over the field in the background. One of the Alfa Romeo Saubers, and it was Axel Ericsson that's gone off. And Guy Tasker's trying to force the issue around the outside of George Vandenberg coming into turn 4. So Guy's had an electrifying start from P9. He's up to P5. In fact, he's just about fired it into the fence on traction. And he's going to probably lose his spot to John Lindbergh. In fact, John's now going to fire it up the inside. I wouldn't be fighting too early, boys. But, yeah, John... Oh, guy's trying to fight the issue. He's actually going to fight his teammate. But he's gotten through. So, good start by Daniel. Mackenzie's up to P2.
It looks like Brad lost a lot of time. And he seems to be falling back. I'm not sure. He might have broken a wing or something. I'm not sure, but...
It's still going on in the back, too, because Axel's actually managed to claw his way back up to... position 13.
And the Red Bulls are still fighting.
Yep, and it's actually a disadvantage John now because he's lost the position to Melvin. Melvin's going to try and hang it around the outside, so Melvin's actually had a pretty good start too from P11.
Jen's not the best, he's down to 8.
And,
and John's gone very wide. I think he's got broken wing because I don't think he did.
Yeah, and George Vanderbrug's just earned himself a fight.
And Virgie did just cut straight in front of.
Yeah, so good start. Definitely the best start goes to Guy Tasker, going from P9 up to P5, and was then challenging George for position 4. So the order is Daniel Vale from Mackenzie Stewart, Bradley Betts, George Vanderbrug, Guy Tasker, Melvin Stubaka, Adrian Biedenbauer, Matthias Vicelli, John Lindbergh, and Joshua Law makes up the top 10. So we'll just see as Lindbergh just trying to find a way past Vicelli here, and Vicelli's also trying to find a way past Bittenbauer. So it's going on in the back here with the Red Bull boys, and Tasker has checked out on these guys, as has Stulbaka. A move here in the back between the two Force Indias. Retief under fire from Reynolds. Oh, and Adrian's had a spin. Yep, Adrian's had a huge off, and actually that's John Lindbergh. John Lindbergh has gone off with him.
What if there's a collision, or if John might have tried to avoid him and just spun, but it's not going to be good for either Toro Rosso or Red Bull.
Well, it's a bit surprising given... God, words, come on. It's surprising given that John is the Rainmaster. And, oh, here we go, Guy Tasker up the inside of George Vanderbrug and got the job done. So that's Guy Tasker up to P4. Guy has shown some really good wet pace as opposed to his teammate who's going backwards down the order.
Yeah, he's 3 seconds behind Brad, so he's going to have to try to claw his way back. This piece of the moment, I wouldn't be surprised if he could get a podium. And in his first race back as well. I think this is even his debut in the F1 this season.
It is. So Omar, what have you made from the start?
Pretty. You know what? I'm surprised there was no crashes. That's on the first corner.
Yeah, I'm actually a bit surprised by that myself. But these guys are, well, I would like to say professionals, but you know they're gamers, so it's kind of hard to distinguish that. As we just see Ericsson make a move on Ward there for position 9. So Ericsson's actually got quite a bit of pace on him as well in these wet conditions too. So next on his target is his teammate in Joshua Law. So the two McLarens are doing reasonably well for themselves. Melvin's had a few trying races in the last couple, as Nadir Ziyech gets a time penalty for multiple warnings, but in these conditions it is kind of hard to meet expectations. Now the question lies in what the weather's going to be, so we don't really know what to expect because no one's told us that it's going to clear or anything like that. And now that the field's kind of settling down, we're kind of getting a pattern here. So Daniel Vale definitely is... Well, actually, Mackenzie and Daniel are trading blows with one another. It keeps modulating between 2.1 and 2.3 seconds, whereas Brad's just kind of holding a 2.4 gap behind Mackenzie. And Guy's actually now just starting to lose a bit of time to these top 3. And someone's... I think it's March Trissandi's note. Someone's actually gone legitimately off, and it's Nadir Ziyech. So Nadir's made a mistake in the wet conditions. In that particular spot there, it's quite easy to lose the rear. As Mackenzie Stewart now does the fastest lap of the race, and it's actually chopped the lead down to 1.8 seconds. So Daniel must have made a mistake somewhere. In fact, Mackenzie's just now earned himself a 3-second time penalty. So that could be the account
Both McLarens are fighting, so I wonder if that's going to guy like get away from them and perhaps keep his fourth, but I'm sure he's planning on getting a podium.
Oh, I wouldn't put it past him. He's definitely a considered driver now. We've got someone in the pits, and that's James Retief, and it's not... James actually started on the wet tyre. That's interesting.
Perhaps that was a bit of a mess up from him. Don't think it's ready.
Yeah, mate, he must have thought that it was supposed to be wet conditions, but obviously jumped the ball. Or maybe the game thought that everyone should be on the wets, and everyone's actually gone the other way and said we'll start on the intermediates, which we like to call the John Lindbergh strategy, where as soon as he gets out of pit lane, he gets a time penalty. We saw it. Oh, and here we go. Battle here between the two Alfa Romeo Saubers. Ericsson versus Law. Ericsson... Ooh, where is that? Oh, yeah, that's in the chicane. So Ericsson tried to make a move. Law's actually put his foot down, said, no, you're going to have to fight me for this one. So no team orders in this game. Well, as far as we believe, pretty sure all the Mercedes people are all in on each other in party chat, so they'll be playing team orders if they need to. But right now, none of them are in really close proximity of each other. Now and Melvin's gone. Oh, he's... Oh my goodness.
Do you reckon that was with his teammate?
I don't know, but I just caught glimpses.
Oh my god, Jesus. Looks like one of the Alfa Romeo Saubers almost just hit him.
I caught glimpse of Matthias Vicelli almost whacking into him, so I wonder if maybe Melvin's gone offline, whacked the fence, and then bounced straight back out in front of everyone. So that's unfortunate there for Melvin. He was doing quite a good job, but that now promotes...
Both Saubers are fighting once again. Seems to be a lot of teammate battles at the moment.
Yeah, it's kind of avoidable, but this time it looks like Ericsson has cleared Law. And somebody's actually started to fall back down the order a little bit is Adrian Bettenbauer. So Adrian's dropped back all the way to 12th all of a sudden. So something's happened to him through all
Mason's
this.
not doing too bad. He's gained one position from where he started, but John is behind him. So don't know if he's going to keep that.
Oh, and saying that too, with the two Saubers battling, that has brought Ward into the battle. So, in fact, here we go again. So, once again, actually, Laura's gotten back past... Ericsson through all this.
Yeah.
And Ericsson down the inside.
Ericsson does have a 5-second. He does have a penalty, I think. So
he does have a 5-second stop go for exceeding track limits, and the same can be said there for George Vandenberg. In fact, George is slowly creeping his way back up the guy. So, and he's taking Matthias with him. And remember, Matthias is also a weather expert. So. Let's not forget this time. In fact, it was this time last season in the GP2 round 4 where Matthias scored a dominating victory at the Russian Grand Prix in wet intermediate conditions. So,
the plan does do a fastest lap. Seems to be like a battle between who can get fastest lap between Stuart and Daniel.
And it looks like at the moment that and this is going to get interesting because now Daniel's teammate's in the way, but actually now he makes pay of that. So. 6 laps in and already a driver a lap down. That's Ferrari going to probably want to have a look at their track record. And of course, we know that Matthias Vicelli has been confirmed to join Daniel at Ferrari next season. But could we see Matthias in Ferrari by Hungary through the mid-season swap system?
I mean, his team is definitely not doing good enough compared to Daniel.
I mean, when you have no disrespect to Nadir, sorry for interrupting you, Omar. When you have one Ferrari at the front and then one Ferrari at the back, and especially then that one Ferrari ends up being lapped, you do kind of have to look at yourself and think, well, this is definitely not what we want, and we want to have both Ferraris up the front, especially because at the moment Daniel is fighting the constructor battle by himself. And he needs someone to do it. And I think, personally, Matthias could be that one person to help bridge that gap.
Yeah, I mean, you could even get the motor down to F2 or F3. I mean, I don't think getting lapped by your teammate is a good image for you.
Well, I mean, we go by the basis that there's always been a pace deficit between drivers, despite whether you use assists or not, and that's always been the pinnacle of what makes you an F1 driver. And of course, next season the F2 becomes a no assist league as well. So drivers will swap and dive around for the league that has the best time, but still be able to use no assist. So just while we were talking there, guys now lost a heap of time to Jules van der Brugge, and van der Brugge now looking very very feisty, and just as I say, they loses rear end traction. And in fact, this is probably the closest thing to a battle we've got at the moment, because everyone's just, well, other than this choo-choo train of cars headed by Axel Ericsson, John Lindberg's actually managed to get past all these guys. So John on the resurgence.
Top three seem to keep.
Oh, and got a battle here between March Trasandi and March. Oh, something's going on here. 5 second stop go penalty for Ashley Reynolds for speeding in pit lane. He's coming in for another set of intermediate tyres, so it's still not time yet for dry weather. And now Daniel's actually starting to stretch his legs too, so Daniel's starting to pull out a gap of 3.3 seconds. So our theory about Daniel... Sorry, go on.
I wonder if Brad's just going to accept the third. But he does need to remember Mackenzie is close by, so in like the championship table. So I don't know. I wonder if he's just going to accept this just to get ahead of Alex.
Well, it's all about damage limitation. Yeah, well, I wouldn't call it damage limitation. I'd call it opportunistic management. So a driver's either crashed out or they haven't attended a race. All you need to do is finish in a high enough position that you're going to jump ahead of them in the championship. Doesn't matter if it's the first round, the second round, or the last round. You still want to be able to... You don't want to go out there guns blazing, put it in the fence, and then ruin any chance you had of jumping that person in the championship. So even if he does lose, which is going to be effectively 3 points to Mackenzie in the championship swing, he will still jump ahead of Alex of the championship by 13 points, or there or thereabouts. So, you know, it's just a matter of looking after the car, looking after yourself, and making sure that you don't put a foot wrong. And right now, I mean, I've got to say, of all the drivers that I expected to be battling for a championship, I mean, don't take any disrespect to this, I didn't actually expect Brad to be one of them. But now he's definitely showing that he is a keen, genuine championship contender in the F1 category. And this also goes to the point when last season, when the F1 was announced to be going to no assist, he packed a Tanti. And now he should be thanking me.
Well, it's probably because we're on controllers and he was just a bit shocked. But yeah, I think he's definitely practiced a lot more than anybody else to like perhaps make him even better than he was in F1 2017.
And 2017 was it's a completely different game to this one, where in 2017 it was very, and I'm talking from personal experience here, running no assists in 2017 wasn't the easiest of things to accomplish, but on this game it seems to reward you a lot more, and it is a better option to take. I mean, for me personally, to step down to F2 and allow myself to use the medium assist again, just me, you know, because I don't have enough time to do this kind of stuff, so commentators want to do best. And oh, here we go, this is interesting here. John Lindbergh around the outside of Joshua Law, didn't quite pay off. In fact, sorry, that was Axel Ericsson there, and Shores has now just gotten another time penalty. So here comes John down the inside of Axel, but Axel goes wide to try and defend that Harniston's
switch
line.
Back and
Job done. So good comeback, good recovery drive here from John Lindbergh, now up to P7. Pretty much he's gone back to now where he started. So, and now we've got a slow Ferrari that's just beautifully gotten out of the way. So well done there. He might pinch Josh Law a little bit, but he still gets out of the way. But still good right of mine. Oh, Axel just loses the rear coming through the fast hander and has to cut through. So John's next target is for his former teammate and Matthias Vicelli, and that gap is about 11 seconds. In fact, in saying that, Matthias now on the back of Jules van der Brugge. So this is the wet weather prowess I was talking about. Matthias isn't exactly pushing his car too hard, but he's just slowly but surely pulling in the time. He's just using his tyres he's not burning them, he's just casually using them up, whereas look at the difference. I mean, look at the difference in the driving abilities from Zhou and Matthias. So Zhou takes such an aggressive line, and you can see that it doesn't work because he just loses so much rear-end traction, whereas Matthias just takes the racing line. He's gone a bit wide there, but I think that was because he just ran out of room on the outside to try and make a move on Zhou's there. Now, Zhou's is coming. Zhou's is in.
I think he may have burned through his tyres trying to push too much to catch the guy, and that's just not. You don't really want to do this on this game because tyre management is a lot more. And you need to know how to do it on this game. Yeah,
and of course, Codemasters came out with a new patch this weekend, or this week, allowing drivers to change their tyre models so that they can run without carcass temperatures. I'll be the first to announce and let people know that this will not be happening in any of the Transnation Formula 1 World Championship categories. Not now, not ever. The idea behind this was so that, and I'm just gonna actually have a small rant here, and I don't care, and I don't care that it's gonna go on YouTube. But personally, this game was meant to be for people that wanted to have a great racing experience. Now, there are complete amateur drivers out there that can't handle the carcass temperatures, they can't handle the halo, they can't handle, all these features that they've brought into this game. I mean, the halo was kind of unconditional, it had to happen. But all these amateur drivers bitched and moaned about wanting all these things to have the ability to turn off so that they could, continue driving like complete amateurs. So Codemasters bent over and took it, and now we're stuck with this. And I'm sorry for saying this, Codemasters, but you need to step up and stop listening to the amateurs that want to destroy this game and turn it into bloody Mario Kart. So this is something I've wanted to say to them for so long, but I figured now that I've got a moment to do it, I can. Now someone's gone off and back to the racing. Someone's gone off in sector 3.
I think that was Ash and Fire or however.
Yeah, I think that was Ash.
About Halo, I understand the Halo more because obviously a flat screen, it's hard to see around, but still, I feel like if you wanna, it's a simulation, so. Well, I feel like it should be more of a simulation than a actual just hop on and play the game.
Omar,
I think it should be a game where you have to practice. But yeah, you can do.
Omar, you were going to say something there?
Oh, completely forgot.
kind of been important, but anyway, we'll stop talking about that. We've got a race on here. So
the rain stopped.
It has actually.
Yeah.
I've just come to notice that myself now that you've mentioned it. So now it's just a matter of who's going to come in. Now, if everyone hung it out, if Daniel hung it out for one more lap, he'd be able to take the soft straight to the end. And I'm sure Mackenzie's probably following that same basis as well. But I think at any given stage now, the soft tyres will go. So essentially, this race has still turned into a one-stop. So
I wonder if Adrian's gonna step up now, because he may have not really liked wet, with no assist. So maybe he's happy that it's gone dry, and perhaps can claw through.
So just saying that Ashley Reynolds is on the super softs now, so we'll see who's he got right behind him, in front of him. He's got one of the Saubers right in front of him. He's just drifting off wide. The DRS hasn't exactly turned on yet, so there's no point. They're probably a bit too early to be thinking about. And as you can see, they're one of the. In fact, it is Adrian that you mentioned now that's just gotten past him on the intermediate. So, oh, here we go. So Matthias is now jumping the gun a little bit early too. As he. The problem is that people, as soon as people, maybe Matthias has actually got it right on the marks here. Matthias might have actually just performed, and John as well. These two drivers might have just performed a strategy masterclass here.
Yeah, I bet John's happy that he hasn't ruined his race because of strategy.
Well, exactly. I mean, he's obviously learnt from China that you don't come in as soon as it stopped. And I was about to make that point when I said that DRS was enabled. You don't necessarily jump into the pits the second that it stopped rain stops dropping. You actually, but I mean, it's kind of a 50-50 situation because you got to think about when the DRS sign comes on, because you could come in and maybe you could come in still a lap early, and then when that DRS sign comes on, you kind of sit there and you think, oh, I've made a mistake. But a lot of people just jump on it because it's the as soon as it stops raining, that's the first thing. Oh, Daniel's had a spin! The race leader spun it! And Mackenzie's going to get ahead of him just coming into pit lane, so...
Daniel takes a bit of a win.
And Mackenzie's just...
Well done, Stuart. That's a good move. Like, I'm not gonna lie though, that pit entry is a bit weird. Not, like, I've had a lot of weird moments. It gives me penalties for no.
But that was honestly a very costly mistake there by by Daniel. But now I just noticed something here. Just have a look at Mackenzie's car. Does anyone else see the number 44 on his car?
No, I see 22.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I've got a glitch where his helmet is... Let me have a look at his helmet. His helmet is new, but it's... The front of his car says 44. Or maybe I was just saying...
I was looking at the side. Maybe it's front 44.
Yeah, I'm just waiting. I'm just trying to get a better shot of this. Hang on. No, it's not. It's not going to show me.
No, it's spotted it. It's like, nah. Oh, this might be a good...
Yeah, it does. It does say 40. I'm pretty sure it does say 44 there. Oh no, it's 22. It's changed back.
No,
In the pits, it said 44. So that was interesting. Now, as I said, that Ashley Reynolds has done the fastest lap on the race on the Super Softs, and Adrian's only now just come in. So I wonder if Adrian's just decided he may have stayed out one extra lap just in case. Now, yeah. So now we'll see the comparison pace between the Mercedes and the Ferrari on the drier tyres. Because Daniel will be now pushing his absolute limits to try and get that race position back. Now,
when he only has to claw in, he only has to be just ahead of him, like just far. I can't get my words out. He has to be like within 5 seconds to take it because he has got a penalty.
Exactly, and I don't think these guys will come in again. But morally, that would have been deflating for Daniel Vale, and of course. He won't know about the 5-second stop-go penalty because unless Jeff tells him about it. But even then, Jeff will only tell you that the person's got a penalty, so he's not gonna think. He's gonna think that he needs to keep in 3 seconds. So he doesn't know. He doesn't need to push as much.
Doesn't that have a 3-second penalty also?
I'm not sure. I want to check the race directors. We see John Lindbergh now do the fastest lap of the race. Actually,
I wonder if Brad can like try capitalize on both their mistakes. Try perhaps get a higher position than third, because perhaps they're both going to be pushing. Like Daniel's going to be pushing to try catch him, and Stuart's going to be pushing to try get away from him. So I wonder if they're going to wear through the tyres and Brad might just be put on some calm music and just drive nice and slow.
Yeah, but keep in mind too that he's got Guy Tasker and Matthias Vicelli catching him. In fact, Matthias has made up a lot of ground on Guy through that whole wet period, so Matthias will be quite happy about this as George sets another fastest lap of the race. George has been definitely the driver with the fastest lap of the awards, and he's also been quite the avid overtaker. I think he's actually just made a move on Bettenbauer there, and in fact he has, so that's Vanderbroek up to P11. I'm not sure.
Adrian's trying to fight back. Oh no, he goes too deep into the corner.
So the two drivers who have made a really good comeback through all this is Lindbergh and Ericsson. Ericsson, especially after the first lap spin, to be back in the field. He's clawed his way back up to position 7 as Mackenzie now does the fastest lap of the race. But Daniel...
Did Ericsson... Oh, did he have a penalty? Or did he... Like, was it a stop go?
Axel did have a stop go actually, I think, for corner cutting. But Daniel just instantly destroyed Mackenzie's fastest lap, and the gap is already 1.4 seconds. Now this is a great battle here. Something, yes, we've seen all throughout the 2018 season in real life, Ferrari versus Mercedes, but you just can't ignore the tantalising prospect of these two. Oh, Daniel's just throwing his car all through the corners. He doesn't give a shit about the traction. He's just throwing in there, sticking the gas down, and just hoping that the rear stays in line. And
This might not be
It
good
looks
for his
like-
tires.
Yeah, it looks like.
I wonder if he's trying to
trying to lock up a little bit also in the corners.
the thing
I
about
wonder
it,
if,
the thing about it, and you know, as a racer or an online racer, you don't want to win the race by being behind the person when they've got penalties. You want to win the race by being the first driver across the line, and that's what Daniel wants to do.
I mean, I wonder if he's trying to get past her and then just chill and let his tires.
Well, exactly, and that's what you do. You don't want to be in a position where you're under attack from people behind. So he wants to get past Mackenzie, and then just control the pace. Because then what he could do also is back Mackenzie into Brad if he wanted to, which I don't think he will because he's not. He'll put himself at risk by doing that as he destroys the lap again with a 33.1. He is on fire. This guy, heavily tipped as the future world champion of the Transnational Formula 1. Mackenzie again with another time penalty. In fact, I just actually realised that Mackenzie already had a time penalty before the stop go, so...
Pretty sure that's 7 seconds then. That's not really good.
So it'll be about 11 seconds now, so...
Oh, Jesus.
So Mackenzie's actually in danger of losing second place to Brad if he doesn't thing. Now here we go, so we're riding on board with Daniel here, coming down the back straight. Does he have the straight line advantage to mount a move on Mackenzie? Mackenzie's just slightly moving over just to prevent a possible dive bomb, but look at the difference in the driving ability. Daniel Vale's just throwing the car into the corner, but doesn't seem to really hurt any of his entry or exit speed doing it.
He might have like a ridiculous setup that just allows him to do that. I'm not
And
sure.
Mackenzie
Or
going
it
a
has
bit
still locks
wide.
up.
Just watching doing this virtual lap on board, Daniel Vale watching him trying to attack the rear of the Mercedes, and Mackenzie will just be starting to feel a little bit antsy about this. He'll be thinking, go away, make another mistake, get out of my line, I want to win. And of course, if Daniel does win this, it will break the contingency strain of 4 different winners in the 4 rounds. He'll be our first multiple winner of the season, and in both categories. Well, actually, sorry, in all 3 categories, because we did have a new winner yesterday in our F3 category, first ever live stream, so we're proud to be able to have our first live stream and have it go so successfully. Ludwig Sell, originally F2, now a race winner. So there was a virtual lap on board, Daniel Vale, and you just can't take your eyes off this race for a minute as his teammate now just incurs a time penalty. And Daniel just, I see Daniel likes to use that exit curb of that fast right-hander just before the back straight, just because it must give him an extra run as he's about to now down the inside. He thinks about it, thinks against it, because he knew Mackenzie wouldn't have given it up too easily. And this corner was the subject of many complaints in the past because people thought there wouldn't be enough overtaking. That corner alone has had more overtakes than, I don't know, turn 3 at Belgium, I guess, down the Kimmel Straight or whatever. But yeah, Daniel's just trying so desperately hard to try and find a way to either unsettle. Does go a bit wide coming out of the edge. Trying to unsettle Mackenzie into a mistake.
Seems to be struggling because scaring Mackenzie, but seems to be.
It's a dirty air effect as well. So Daniel will be in the dirty area of the Mercedes, so he's not being able to stay in them with too much thing. And that's why Daniel breaks off a little bit on the straight just to try and break that dirty air for a split second. Just have a look back through the field while we just see how all this plays out. So another penalty for James Retief, and so here's an interesting battle starting to brew up, and that's headed by Guy Tasker in P4, and he's got now Matthias and John now on the back of him. So John's starting to use his pace now to claw his way back through the field, and he's now trying to challenge for the top 4, and that'll be a reasonably good comeback despite the fact of what happened previously. Now that gap's gotten bigger between Daniel and Mackenzie. In fact, Daniel's gone around the outside, locks up. I'm thinking he's starting to get a little frustrated now that Mackenzie's I think he feel that Mackenzie's holding him up. But in saying that, these two aren't actually losing time to Brad. They're making time on Brad.
I wonder if Brad's just... I don't know.
Well, he's going to want to hope
Potentially he doesn't realise. Also, but I'm pretty sure they're on a party together, so I'm surprised.
Yeah, so Mackenzie's probably said something to Brad, and I would have thought that Brad would have used this initiative to try and push himself further.
They might be. Well, I don't know. Do they have enough brains else to think of something? Probably not. I mean, it is Stuart.
Yeah, that's a bit harsh.
The fact that Brandon's on a faster tire, I mean, he should be able to catch up fairly quick.
Oh, here we go. Daniel, he definitely went out of the dirty air, but I didn't think turn 1 would have been an ideal move. He could make a move up here if he could get the run, but at the moment it just looks like Mackenzie's just got that little bit extra in the exit speed. So Daniel really needs to be well primed here, which I think at the moment let's have a look at it. It's definitely, Mackenzie definitely takes a more shallower approach, which does fire the risk of getting a penalty, but it does stop him from getting attacked by Daniel in the DRS. And Mackenzie's obviously...
So it is lower by a tad on ERS, but looks like Daniel's not doing that great either.
And they're coming up.
This is probably going to be... It's probably going to be burning Daniel's tyres as well, and that's probably why he's wanting to get past now.
Yeah, exactly. That's the effect. And that, will he make a move here? He's going for it. He thought about it for a second there and then backed out. And there's another factor too. They're catching up to Ashley Reynolds. And the time penalties are just starting to flicker. Oh, Daniel very deep on the brakes there. Nearly got the back of Mackenzie's car, but well controlled there by the young Spaniard there. And he's just looking for that. Oh, they're both on the ragged edge in the penultimate corner. I mean, I know there's a lot of battling. And Mackenzie's going to try and use the DR slipstream of the Force India to stop the attack from Daniel. Daniel's gonna force the issue. He's gonna go down the inside at turn 1. They're gonna go side by side. The wheels, they're contact, and there's been contact, and there's actually damage there. So one of the cars has got wing damage.
Looks like that's Daniel. Looks like he's lost a bit of his front wing. Looks quite heavy damage as well. It doesn't look shallow, or doesn't look. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Is that just on my screen, or does everybody else have damage?
Well, I can't tell, so I'm just having a look. Let's have a look at Mackenzie's car. Mackenzie's would be on the right-hand side, whereas Daniel's would be on the left. I can't see anything, but here we go. DRS again. Mackenzie goes defensive. Daniel's going to go around the outside. It's going to be set up for the inside. Daniel takes the lead of the race. Mackenzie's going to try and get the switchback, but it doesn't work. Daniel Vale with the masterclass move outbrains Mackenzie Stewart and takes the lead of the Grand Prix again with 7 laps to go.
That's not too hard though.
But Mackenzie does go back around the outside, tries to get the position, and he actually clears him. So I think you might be right in the way that there is front wing damage, and it is hurting Daniel's ability to get through these corners. But I can't really say for certain. But all through this, I really thought Brad would have caught up, but he's still 13.4 seconds behind.
He's still 12 seconds. But do you reckon Daniel's gonna moan, or do you reckon it was just a racing incident?
I think it was personally a racing incident because Mackenzie did give a sufficient amount of space, but it just looked like with the way that the corner canvas is, he goes for another move around the outside. In fact, he's doing it. He's done it. He's got it there. He's carted Mackenzie offline. They're going to go side by side heading into turn 3, but Daniel's going to have the preferred line. They're going to go again side by side. Daniel then gets carted offline, but let's see, Mackenzie's doing the right thing by giving space, but unfortunately for Daniel, he's just not in the right position because Mackenzie's obviously using a bit more brake in the way that he can get ahead in the corner, which then sets him up for the next one. So, but yeah, the first one was definitely a racing incident, and it did kind of bounce back in the way because Daniel did give one back just then. And we just lost Omar in the commentary, so in fact I've just been kicked from...
I'm lagging a lot.
Shit, that's not good. I've just been booted.
Shall I record now?
Yeah, just keep the commentary, and I'll have to figure something out of this.
Well,
lagging a bit also.
Daniel's 5 tenths behind Stu. He's
Oh,
probably going to try and move down the straight.
can you do a share
That
play?
seems to
Do a share play.
share play.
Yeah.
What, me?
Yeah, and then I can just watch it from your end.
I've started recording, just in case.
Oh yeah, good man. Just keep going anyway. I'll just Actually, hang on. Yeah, okay, never mind. Keep going. I'll just stop my recording there.
Oh man.
Yeah, so looks like Stuart's now behind Daniel. Don't know how that happened, but Stuart is only 3 tenths behind, so he might try and move down the straight. He has quite a bit of ERS. He's got pretty much 3/4, and he's in overtake mode, so he's definitely trying to move. Daniel's trying to cut the slipstream out, but Stuart does get past quite by a mile as well. Daniel go a bit deep into the corner. Brad does look like Brad's realised that he's realised that they're battling, and he's clawing in the time. It's now down to 10.3 seconds. So if Brad can get that down to like 8 seconds, he will jump Stuart, pretty sure. And looks like Guy is just holding his position in 4th, 6.3 seconds behind Brad. I'm pretty sure we'll be happy with this for the first race of the 2018 season. And Enverche is only 1.8 seconds behind him, so he might be able to pull back the time and try fight with Guy for the 4th position. But John is right behind him as well. So.
And John will be happy that he's been able to claw his way back given the circumstances of the first few laps. Probably will be disappointed that he didn't exactly try to capitalise his weather prowess, so he will be a bit disappointed by that, but I'm sure he'll be happy that he's taken a bit out of that. So
well, John is 3 tenths behind Tyus. He might try to go for a move down the straight once he gets there. I think he probably will just cruise behind. He has DRS, and then it's just probably going to be an easy move. He has got pretty much full ERS, so that's also going to be quite good for him. And there's not really much. There is Mason versus March. I forgot their names. I don't actually.
March Trisandi. I've just sent you a request to watch you, so.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that now.
Probably not too many laps to go anyway, but Daniel's just looking, obviously, to try and do something out of it. I'm not exactly sure if he's made a move or he's dropping back or...
Daniel is in 2nd, 5 tenths behind Stuart, but obviously Stuart's got a lot of penalties, so...
Yeah, so
doesn't look like he's too phased about being in 2nd. John is still right behind the Taurus, so I wonder why he hasn't made a move yet, or if
it could be just biding. Could be just biding his time, waiting to see how things play out. So, anything's a possibility. So,
hey, it looks like Adrian's missed out on points in P11, and Josh is 15 seconds behind March. That's quite a big gap. The only real battle is at the front at the moment. Then you're still behind Stuart by around 5 tenths. Doesn't seem to be doing a lot at the moment. Perhaps trying to save his tyres so you can actually make it to the race, or make it to the end of the race and not spin. He is gaining, and he's going to try and move around the side. Looks like Stuart locked up, goes deep. Oh, looks like almost contact. Might have been a bit of lag, I'm not sure, but Stuart does. Still, I don't know if that's just lagging on this game. So
I just weirdly got an invitation to join the session from Brad.
Maybe wait. So is he just put it to AI?
He must have paused it to allow me to send me an invite just so I could get back in, but it's not working at the moment. So hang on, we might actually just salvage this.
There's only 3 laps left.
Yeah, so you hold on to the recording front. I've still got the audio going, so it's still fine as it is. So it's going to look a bit weird, but we'll just
Yeah, you're gonna have to take my.
Oh yeah. We'll figure that out. Just send it to Mackenzie at some point, but that's all right. So we're getting a bit off topic here, but I'll be back.
I've just noticed Mason has got a fuel sign saying that he's running out of fuel. So I wonder if he's just used too much.
Mason's always been under the basis that you underfuel your car at the start, and it grants you better starts, but then you've got
on this game. I feel like you car and then use it all at the start of the race, and then but I don't know. Perhaps I don't know. He is an 8, so he's done quite well to get some points for Williams. Daniel is still 5/10, but I don't know.
But either way, he's trying to make a move from the looks of it, but just still can't really put anything there. And here we go. So John's now looking to size up a move. In fact, John's going to now go down the inside of Matthias Ficelli, former teammates. And Matthias tries to fight the issue around up the inside, but John's going to have the better line coming out of the corner, and that's job done. So Red Bull positions 4 and 5 right now. So that's going to be a boost to their Constructors' Championship hopes. Especially now that with Guy in the points as well. So the biggest winner I think today overall has been Guy Tasker with a P4. He's pretty much held P4 from lap 4 onwards. The biggest loser, it's definitely been George Vanderbrug. I don't know what's happened to him, but he's just fallen right down the order, and from a P3 stage, dropped 10 positions, so he'll be very disappointed by that.
Potentially, the penalties just knocked his driving, and he was just like, is there any point? But I'm not sure.
Axel Ericsson's made a good comeback. He started P5, he's currently P7, so he'll be disappointed by that, but he will at least be happy to know that he's come out of it with points, and his teammate is just narrowly holding on to a points finish ahead of Adrian Bedenbauer, and Adrian will still be quite pleased with his result despite his good qualifying. Oh, and Mackenzie's... Oh, there was a move there, so Daniel's made a move on Mackenzie. In fact, they're going to go side by side through the fast sector. Oh, this is at the chicane, so Daniel's now up the inside, but he's not going to have enough... I think Mackenzie's got a bit more straight line speed on him.
Oh, and one of the Force India's off sector 1 and 2.
Oh, he is too. So, and then...
I think Adrian's probably going to be happy with this. I mean, he hasn't spun, so he's definitely got used to no assists. Which is quick to be honest. I expected him to... I mean, he was doing no assists originally for a bit, but yeah, I guess he's going to be pleased with this result despite not having any points.
So this is now the final lap, heading through down the corner. Daniel Val still looking, despite the fact he knows he's going to take the race win through the penalty system, still wants that position off Mackenzie. So he wants to be the one to win the race across the line, but Mackenzie's just driven a very defensive race today, and so rightly so. He's definitely deserved a bit of credit, as Daniel gives him a bit of a tap up the butt to say, I'm not happy, I want that position back, give it to me. But obviously Mackenzie, if he hadn't had all these penalties, this would be a pretty convincing win for him, but he's going to probably have to settle for second this weekend because of a bit of rashness in his racecraft, and of course the pit lane drive-through penalty that he is yet to serve. So Daniel Vale's going to take... Oh, and Daniel's just earned himself a 3-second time penalty. The first mistake of the whole race. So Daniel will probably see this now and he'll think, oh shit, now to back off, and you know, he can't... He's got to accept defeat here. He's not going to win the battle, but he's going to win the war at the end of the day. So he's going to take the knowledge of being a multiple race winner this season, and definitely is starting to show why he's the one destined to try and take the number 1 off my car. Well, anyone can do that this season with me out of the game, but anyway, Mackenzie Stewart around the last turn. He's going to be the driver that crosses the line first, but unfortunately it's going to be a multiple race win for Daniel Vale. 2 from 2. Daniel Vale is a man on a mission. And now we'll see. Now, Brad's lost a lot of time in the last sector. So he's going to still finish third. But he will take the championship points lead back. Guy Tasker, great result in his first race back for P4. And it's a Red Bull 4-5 with Matthias making a Red Bull family 4-5-6. Around the last turn comes Axel Eriksson sliding his way to the finish line. And Axel will take home P7 with March Trasandi. Definitely good result from March. He started at the back, P15, so he's gone from 15th to 8th, so definitely could be a candidate for driver of the day today. We'll just now cross over to the other chats to see if we can get a word in with our drivers while we wait for these guys to finish up. So March Trasandi will cross the line in P8.
Brett, so shall I just
wait
the recording now?
Wait till the
Or just
podium.
wait until the end?
Yeah, wait till the podium and then.
Okay.
So Mason Ward will finish in the points. Banana Joshua Law so close but yet so far. In fact, I think that might have been penalties that actually promoted.
Oh, that puts Adrian up into 9. So that is points for him. Perhaps he knew that and just chilled for a bit.
No, either way, that's it for the race. We're now just wait for our drivers our top 3 to come in. Of course, we don't know. I don't think Daniel will join us. We'll wait one way or another. Well, either way, while we wait for our top 3 drivers, Guy Tasker, definitely one of the drivers of the day. Your start in that race was electrifying in the wet, and you've held it down to consolidate a P4 finish, and probably one of the only few drivers to not actually score a penalty in the whole race. So, well done on that front, my friend.
Yeah, thanks. Certainly the start. I know I've got good starts, but that surprised me at just how good it was. I felt like I probably could have got an extra place there, but I didn't realise the penalties in front of me. I didn't realise Betts had penalties. I probably could have. Actually, I don't know. I was saving fuel on that to save myself from the attack from behind, so I don't know. But yeah, I'm really happy with P4, to be honest.
Actually, I can confirm that other than Melvin, who crashed out of the race, you are the only driver to not have penalties in that race. So,
get in.
That's a feat in itself, and a good points result too for Red Bull with John behind you in 5th, and then Matthias in 3rd.
Yeah. It was good to see John get past in the end to have the 4-5. He ended up getting a bit close to me at the end there, but yeah, as I say, happy to good points for the team really. 4-5.
Okay. Well, thanks for your time there, Guy. We'll move to Axel Eriksson. Axel, that first lap spin must have been very demoralising for you, but the ability to claw your way back through the field, especially in the wet, you definitely had a bit of wet pace on yourself, and to claw your way back up to P7, that's good comeback.
Yeah, I have to be happy with P7. I started P5 and then got a good start against Mackenzie. And I was pushed a little wide and there's no grip off the track, and I kind of got a tank stepper and hit Mackenzie. Luckily I got no damage, so I was able to carry on. And I'll take P7 after that spin. I was last on the first lap.
Well, thanks for your time there. We'll see how we fare off when we come back in a week's time to we take a week off and go to Spain in 2 weeks' time. Still no sign of any of our top 3, so I think we'll just end it at that. So, unfortunately,
I think that means I get the win then. There's no penalties as well, so I get the full 25. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Unfortunately, with disconnecting through the mid part of the race, we should have a bit of backup, and Cameron doing a bit of recording of the video. The audio gets a bit naff, especially with the rant, so I apologise to everyone for the rant about Codemasters, but anyway, it's been Brett Keenan with Omar Roman and Cameron Betts bringing you coverage of the F1 French Grand Prix, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time at Spain for round 5.